This is
Sunny
good.
delight, sunny
It's
delight,
sunny delight. Sunny D is what it stands for.
Sunny the D, Sunny the
Bring
D.
back Five Alive.
Bring back Radio 5.
No, not the radio.
No, no.
Back the radio.
Fuck that Sky High. Apart
Five
from
Alive.
Absolute Radio.
Or smooth.
Smooth operator.
You can never have radio these days without a bit of smooth.
You should always have smooth radios. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or for the first time, to Nerd Bible Podcast with myself, George, and himself,
Mr. Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. No.
Captain
Alex
Marvel.
McQueen with a bit more hair.
Alex McQueen. Getting ready for when our words, our specialized words that we use
Specialised words.
special words.
Special words.
Yeah, me and Connor saw each other like 2 days ago. This is like the most we've seen each other.
I
Tuesday,
know.
Saturday,
Beyond the contract.
and this is a day earlier.
This is a day earlier, yeah.
Yes. Which is a Monday, so that's the day before Tuesday, if anyone didn't know that.
Oh, you know.
Oh my goodness me! But yeah, we went to it'll probably be the main thing we talk about. Well, it'll be like the first thing we talk about. Should we just talk about it now?
Go on for about 20 minutes, yeah.
About 20 minutes, because
20
there's not
long
much going
minutes.
on anyway. Yeah, just fuck it. It's just big finish week.
And it's mega fresh, yeah. And it was big.
We saw Doctor Who Audio Adventures live
For the first time.
and well, we were the second people in there.
Fine, but on the first day.
Yes, on the first.
Technically for the first time. But the first time ever they did it. But we were the second performance. So
Yes.
make that what you will.
We saw Paul McGann.
About this far away.
Well, Connor sat us in different seats because he was like, "Yeah, that's C," and I was like, "But no, there's
CC.
CC." And the woman
3PO.
went, "Did you do C instead of CC?" I'm like, "Yes,
C.
C."
Yeah.
But
there's no
they were
sound
like the
there.
third row.
Yeah. But we were like this, like genuinely like this far from Paul McGann because he was in the middle of all the microphones on the stage.
From
I didn't
Paul.
exactly know what it was going to be visually, but it was a cool TARDIS interior, TARDIS prop, Dalek prop, bunch of microphones in the middle, and all the cast came up one by one and neatly sat themselves along the centre stage podium. And Paul McGann was
Before we went in,
yeah,
like we saw Barnaby Edwards at the stage door. He was there. Loads of
Yeah.
people talking to him.
the,
And then
walking, the human Dalek himself.
a man that you'd not heard of. Really.
I knew the name, but I just couldn't tell you what you looked
What
like.
you- yeah, or
'cause
what you-
I
what he
know the
did.
names, but I couldn't tell you what likenesses. Doctor Who directions and writers and directors are my weakness. It's not as spammed as it is films, but that's just for me.
Yeah. But then from watching Confidential, that's how I knew who Barnaby Edwards was, who was formerly a Dalek operator, apparently up until 2023's Destination Skaro, which was
Fine.
look, David Tennant's back and Davros can walk again. And then-
Last time.
Yes, and then
Until
for the last time,
Yeah.
until David Tennant broke his legs in the car park. But yeah, like
Yeah.
because always from Confidential and stuff, like you get to know these
Faces.
amazing faces and people behind the scenes of
Mm.
Doctor Whom, So he's one of the ones that's like, oh yeah, Barnaby's been a Dalek operator for donkey's years.
A while.
Um,
A long while.
not anymore, obviously. Apparently, I mean, he is. How old is he now? He's like late 50s, early 60s, maybe. I
Hard to
don't know.
say. But he's another big fish.
Not,
regular
I mean, he
collaborator.
looks like obviously amazing for his age, but there comes a time when you want to stop being crammed inside a tiny dustbin.
Wow. I mean, amen to that.
Well, because it probably gets to a
Yeah,
point where he's
true.
like, do I really need to do this for another 20 years? And he's probably like, no. But I mean, directs a very good Big Finish.
He does.
I mean, that was the first Big Finish I'd ever listened to, like properly, like start to finish. Like,
Yeah, but that's the thing. I swear, I saw George said on many, many episodes ago. Keen Eye listeners, you can find out the quotes and air dates and when he said it. But I know you discussed you bought it for someone else, but I thought they were for you. The releases. I thought you said I have Destination Earth, the fourth Tom Baker, the first Tom Baker release.
yeah.
But then I didn't find out it was for you. It was for someone else.
Oh no, yeah, it was a present. Yeah, I don't have it. But yeah, I've not like properly got it. But then with that, I mean, if
That's
Paul,
changed.
if Paul McGann's gonna do all of do Chimes of Midnight live on stage, then yeah, I mean, because that's
That's the
'cause that's
dream.
what a lot of people are saying. Like, would they do like the popular ones, like go back and do old ones again? But then obviously, like getting those people back to
20 odd years later.
yeah. I mean, is that a Charlie and 8 story?
Yeah. So you'd get India Fisher and
Yeah, so that'd be easy.
confirmed. Yeah.
And like with all the like behind the scenes stuff on like the TikTok and the Instagram and stuff that the BBC did, and it's like everyone's like, just give them a spin-off series, just give them like a 6-part mini series of the Doctor and Charlie, because everyone's after an Eighth Doctor, adventure thing. Look, but like my own thing has been like, especially with a new Doctor, like it's kind of a bit like, because everyone wants to see Paul, so then having him essentially having your spin-off of Doctor Who essentially be Doctor Who, but at a different point in his life, you'd kind of be a bit like, it would pull focus, and a lot of people are like, no, it wouldn't, but it would, and it would be a bit sort of like lazy. I'd watch it. But would it overall make you think that this is the Doctor Who I want, not the Doctor Who I've got? And would Russell write it? And would fucking Mrs. Flood be in it? And is there always a twist at the end? I don't know.
Has she? Oh, I'm asking you, but I wonder if she's done an audio. Could she do an audio?
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like Mrs. Flood audios.
Yeah, down the line.
If we ever find out who the fuck she is, which I don't think we will.
Oh, she's a purpose audience troll. She's a point of debate every week. This is the week we're going to find out, and nothing.
Mrs. Flood is a troll. I'll write that down.
But will we find out? Well, I mean, a question that I thought we could get answered in the Big Finish play, but McQueen, man, when did you?
Not Lightning McQueen, Alexander McQueen.
Alexander McQueen, the first. I'm assuming he's the first of his name.
Well, for those because obviously, like briefly a couple of weeks ago, we'd gone over the Big Finish things, like that's little picks for it.
Recommendations.
Well, mainly your picks, and Mike had backed some of them up and then done some others because he is always the most helpful boy there is. But
Lord bless Michael.
Lord bless Sir Mike. Okay, I mean, like it did really get me into it. And I'm like, I mean, would they do this again? Will it be a thing of like, all right, we're waiting for them to announce the next collection set and what the next Big Finish is?
If the first 200 people that order the collection set gets tickets to the next Big Finish play.
That would be fucking something that you would never be able to fucking choreograph that properly.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. No. But I'm judging by Barnaby's face. We're sort of doing like a live-by-live play of Our Day Out, but essentially by Barnaby, by his first reaction when he walked out and when we all clapped and applauded, I think he was a bit taken aback. Like we've discussed off camera anyway, I think he was a bit sort of blown back by the appraise and the applause he got, and just...
Because I think they always knew that there is obviously longevity and an audience in Big Finish, because otherwise it wouldn't be going for as long as it has been. I mean, the format changes it's gone through in terms of the monthly stopping. Now the box sets are, like you say, less of a thing, and they're focusing on more series, more standalone.
The box sets are more individual as opposed to big, like 16 wide release arcs, as opposed to like Dark Eyes 1 through 4, Doom Coalition 1 through 4, and.
But still, if you're into them, you're into them, and like obviously, loads of people dressed up as various versions of the Doctor, which we always love when people go through that effort, because it's an effort that we would love to do, but just don't have the time or we would never be able to ourselves make a Doctor Who costume.
Oh no, God, no.
Or piece together or find the bits, because we're just fucking so generic in that sense. But and you had some people dressed as Dark Eyes versions of Paul. That was good.
Yeah, cool. Leather jacket, jeans. That's probably as far as we would go.
You had so many people there. Like even people that Dom was there the day after us. Even you said the Saturday done so well and sold so quick that they had to put on the Sunday as well. So it's there, and the fact that it's more people people want to see more of Paul McGann as the Doctor, a Doctor we've had very little of, unless you are rich enough to be able to afford all of the Big Finish stories, which sadly not everyone is.
Yeah.
But that was nice because we kind of discussed. I think we'll go into it at the end of it in our sort of review of this. Not that we can really, review it, but it's sort of what we'd like next. Would it be a thing if you would do the collection? Would you have maybe a different Doctor do it? Would you go back and do a classic stories like Chimes of Midnight, a popular one? Spare Parts, would that be one that they're willing to
redo? But then,
was it more enjoyable because it was a new story
at the time?
Whereas if people know, I know how Spare Parts ends.
Spare Parts isn't, but Spare Parts as a concept isn't, I wouldn't say entirely new, because it literally was Genesis of the Daleks, but with the Cybermen. Yeah. Not in a very broad nutshell.
That's often what it's referred to as, isn't it?
Yeah, it pretty much is Genesis of the Cybermen. But no, Spare Parts, Chimes of Midnight. I mean, we can go on about early, old Big Finish, but there's so much more to dabble. And as I said last week, whenever the videos come out, but The original 50 releases of the monthly range / main range are on Spotify for those that have it. I don't know about, I think SoundCloud as well, possibly. If you've got like a premium subscription to that, but you can listen to the original 50 stories and sort of form your opinions then. And most of them out of the 50 are pick up, listen. You don't have to have prior knowledge, which is another thing I liked about this one as well, especially for you, because I was thinking it might have been more into McQueen's continuity and like 8 and Charlie lore, but like you hadn't listened to none of it, but it was an easy watch. You didn't have to know anything prior. You could just go into it.
It felt very like, and obviously this is the point, like it felt like a classic Who story. It was like, here's the Doctor, companion, there's a problem, and the master's just there, like even in
He's
like
just
terms
there.
of like, you know, how he survived and stuff, and then how he survives again, because you know they can never fully kill off the master.
No,
So like,
whether they like it or not.
so like that was good, because you know I've heard so many good things about the audios and about Alex McQueen from yourself and other people. Like it didn't disappoint in any way. Like, and maybe like for people like similar people like myself would like gone there and sort of like not really dabbled properly in Big Finish, and now will probably go off and be like, well, I'd like to listen to some more of the Doctor and that Master. So like I'll start there, and then like it's the same with watching Doctor Who. Like find a Doctor or like companion or something, like something like that you like,
latch onto,
and then go through there. Like don't go from like Doctor to Doctor and expect it all to make sense, because it never will.
No,
but it was really cool because it was 9 people on stage.
Yeah.
9
people.
Yeah, but shall I go get the program? Because that will help actually.
That will help.
That won't. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I don't know where you kept it. I thought you might have had it in my room. It is in your room. Yeah, 9 people on microphones, with microphones on stage, a bit taller than this. Kind of just bosh. Cool TARDIS interior background. A TARDIS and a book has appeared. Yeah.
£10 bloody for that program.
God, only a tenner. That's not even a whole story.
Well, you had a quite, you know, good financial touch, really, didn't you, when you got that?
Yeah, that's just it's nothing to do with Big Finish, but essentially I had a free train ticket up there, so that was like hurrah.
We got to the station, like,
sorry London, don't arrest me.
I went to top up my Oyster card, but I had enough money on it, and you were about to pay for a travel card, but someone had already paid for the same travel card.
It was fate.
And left it on the machine.
It was just there.
So I was like, just take that. And the worst case, you just buy a different travel card from when you get to Liverpool Street or wherever we was going to. So
yeah.
So that money you saved, the £17 you didn't have to spend on the ticket, you could spend on some merchandise, because you bought
t-shirts. They do not have clothing. I would like a Big Finish.
They had that program. They had
this program.
A poster.
I was going to get a program, and my mind went posting. You know, you go to say you want something, but you just say the wrong thing. It weren't even like I glitched. It was just program, and I ended up with a poster. But and I wasn't bothered enough to go, I didn't mean this. But it wasn't until I walked away that I realised I got the wrong thing, because the poster was wrapped, and I tried turning the page, and that's why I was like, this isn't a thing I can hold and turn. So that's how I realised.
But also, you got the physical release of it.
More memorabilia. That's more of a treasured item. That's just a memento. But then, in fairness, the program for you is a memento of sorts, and it's also helpful for this visual
stuff. Look at that. Look the people.
Look, people.
So go on, read us through the cast. If you could do it backwards order and do Paul last. So
fine. All right. So we'll start.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
there was just 9 people on stage, and obviously I think because you said as well, like this is one of the things, like before, like obviously we get into it, but like you said in terms of the script, like it was a really like well done script, but sort of almost like with the audience in mind.
Yes,
you said it at some points, because obviously like in the way that the jokes come across in the banner, it was not expecting a reaction, but they knew that they would play well with the audience.
Get a reaction. But that's to say, when we listen to the proper release, whether it's on CD or the download, if those moments will have the same effect, or whether that was just more put on for the live aspect of the show.
Well, yeah, because they'll change live versions of stuff to sort of,
because on the website you get the studio version, and then towards the end of the play, or at the very end, we're doing this very jumbled back to front, but we're in it. Pasty Sheep are in it. Our vocal cords are in the live version.
There's 4 live showings, so part of us might be, because they were recording it on camera. Yeah, I assume for the website.
More or less, I think because I saw Facebook discussions after that, it'd be more of a YouTube short, like
Yeah, okay.
YouTube brief montage thing.
And they were doing the live version as well. So there was like us big background of the Robo-Men. They needed like more people instead of just having 9 people, because obviously they didn't have, like they say, the 6 month post production cycle that they normally get. And it was like they had to rehearse and basically do it like a live play, which was what
in
it was.
2 hours.
In 2 hours, and they'd done it already once that day in the afternoon, and then did it, in the afternoon and evening.
So all the nerves and giggles and glitches they might have had in their lines were out of the system, so they were all prepped, refreshed and prepared for the evening showing.
And I would fully, if anything comes up, do go to it. But if you
100%.
want to stay, because we did want to stay and see Paul and that come out the stage door, which was like the stage door was packed with so many people,
swarmed,
but where it being like 10 o'clock already, and then you're like, oh, you're waiting there for God knows how long, and then maybe you get to see him after he's dealt with a few other people, and there's so many people in front of you that it's like the afternoon one. I would bang on, do that, and then go straight out and be at the stage door, and at least say, Paul, thank you, that was amazing, I love you.
Subscribe to Big Finish. Subscribe
to Big Finish.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, that company you work for. Subscribe to them.
Yeah. So, who were the 9 people that we had on stage?
In no particular order, but
you don't really have to read their biography. Just say who they were.
I'm just.
Go. Sorry,
you're the pro. Be as detailed as I like.
You're the pro. You're Paul McGann.
I am Paul McGann. Caroline Seymour, Nisha Nayar, Jason Forbes.
Yeah, but you're not saying who they were playing. We have no idea.
That's for you to find out. No, Caroline Seymour was old Emily Barnfather and / the light Booker or Booker. The light Booker, the good version, the Jedi, if you will. And then Nisha Nair was the younger Emily Barnfather, who was kind of like the surrogate companion of this story. But whether or not we may get more of her, it's TBA.
Do you think we'll see her again?
I mean, that's the thing. Going by the ending, which of course we won't talk about here, I kind of had the impression of, we could do like another set. I'm not saying it's going to be a permanent, regular. I mean, that's a fault. I was going to say it's not going to be a regular. It'll be one-off, one more story, maybe stuff for Legend 2. I don't know whether they will continue it like they did with the Ultimate Adventure back in the 80s.
I mean, it's very standalone story, but like
no knowledge required. You can just go into it like for you, especially. You can just go into it,
and if you can, and listen to this one first, maybe this will get you into it.
Or chances are, if you were there at one of the 4 opportunities, you will let you know.
Let us know what you thought of it. Yes. Yeah. Because when we had to do the groaning for the background extra bit, it was like Pasty Sheep. So that might sneak in. If you hear Pasty Sheep faintly in the background, it was us.
Possibly. Or it was Captain Montgomery Césaire, played by Jason Forbes.
He was very good.
And then you have the man, the legend, the Dalek himself, not Terry Malloy Davros. I'm talking about Barnaby Edwards, the director, who played 2 roles, and also he did the sort of some vocal chords of the Booker.
They all sort of did background things, and like everyone sort of doubled up because that's what you do in audio, because it's budgeting reasons, as they put it.
Budgeting, yeah. No Disney Plus was there. No Mickey Mouse operators were there.
Oh!
He played Jago Penrose, and as well as the character of Foley. He was funny.
Yes, it's very good. It's also the way he carried himself. Like, I know it's an audio performance, and we don't get to see much of how they would do the big finishes, but like, it was a nice thing of like, sort of peek behind the curtain, because that's probably how they all do it. Like, they have to sort of embody the character. He held himself differently when he was Foley to when he was
and they have
Penrose.
And they were like doing the actions when they were like climbing up ladders and
because you've got to
doing ropes. You have to
stand like you're out of breath or running or like
panting and sighing and expressing. Then we had Gabriel Clark, who was 3 roles. The Roberman, he played Jory. He also was the Dark Booker. But he was also basically the sound technician there because of the budget.
And he was being the Foley artist on the Foley table next to Nick Briggs. Yeah. So like any objects like to help like immerse you, there was pre-recorded sound effects, and like in terms of physical objects and stuff, if they needed a sound, he had a table.
He was
full
the
of
man.
Stuff. Foley artists are really good. If you want a thing like on Foley artists and you're a Doctor Who fan, watch the Hungry Earth or Cold Blood Doctor Who Confidential. Obviously the full version is on BBC iPlayer, but if you've got the Series 5 box set, it's the cut down like 15-20 minute version. But that one focuses on Foley artists, and that's so vivid in my mind. I remember watching that in 2010 and Foley artists are a dying art because it's all post production and stuff now.
Yeah, effects.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we're on the main page. We have Sir Alex McQueen, just before Sir Derek Jacobi incarnation, but Alex McQueen as the Master,
Who hadn't been seen since
2020's Masterful, which is essentially was the 50th anniversary of Terry
Master.
Aldon's.
Okay.
So we had all of the Masters in that release. Even John Sim, who, as far as I'm aware, hasn't done anything since that sodding story. Damn you, John.
Who the fuck is John Sim?
Who is John Sim? Even Big Finish don't know.
In terms of a master, is he one that you
master.
rate highly, Alex McQueen?
Very much so. Very much so. Because I know this man is a British comedian. In Betweeners, The Thick of It, Casualty is. It's called. What the fuck was he in? Casualty.
Probably a doctor of some kind.
Keith or look, British BBC viewers, you can tell me in the section below. I know he's a British comedian and he's notoriously on British comedies and stuff, but he's a sinister guy in this. He's a proper old school 70s villain. He reminds me of Delgado.
Yeah, he's very
in his
much in the
vocal
Delgado, like Anthony
Yeah.
Ainley mold, isn't he?
You can tell he's from the same lineage, same person in all those bodies.
When he does like, there's a disguise reveal, and
Yeah.
like they're like, "Who?" and he's like, "Oh, it's wasted on you, isn't it?"
The good old tissue compression eliminator.
eliminator.
Yeah.
Well, shrink ray to you of the simple mind. It's like, oh, he's just chewing the scenery. And
He is
he's
Delgado Jr. Yeah, it's, in terms of his vocal cords. But then we had the man, probably in terms of performance. I mean, he does it. I mean, I'm showing the camera that I'm actually not showing the person.
you're showing Paul in India.
Yeah, sorry, not Sir Nicholas Briggs, aka Mr. 4 or 5 Dalek voices. And how did he not glitch in that one scene? Like he had to go full on.
Did you
5 voices
when you
at
first
once.
heard the Daleks like being done in front of you? Were you because I got a bit
I
like
had goosebumps.
I was a bit like, oh, this is everything I've ever heard in my childhood. Like, this
and
is-
it's just a guy with a microphone.
watching Doctor Who, listening to various like the old Flash games and stuff. Like he would record
Yeah,
everything for anyone,
everything.
and it's like that's actually Nicholas. Like because there was the joke when one was like Nick Briggs. I'd wonder who he's playing,
Yeah, I wonder who he's playing. Yeah,
but no,
But
it's one of the men
seeing
who
it in
created
person
Big Finish.
was insane.
I mean, without him, like Big Finish would not be as
And the Wilderness years in general wouldn't be if it wasn't
Well,
for Mr. Briggs.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice to see him.
Oh, doing his magic, Dalek magic.
But
Incredible.
An adventure with Doctor Who is not complete without a mismanaged duo of a time traveling alien and a adventure seeking companion.
Yeah. Oh, in this case, Big Finish is 18th century Edwardian Stowess. Stowaway-esque? What the fuck was their title?
Stowaway,
But she had like
adventurous.
Stowaway Adventurous, yeah, something like that. From Storm Warning, I'm talking about India Fisher playing Charlie Pollard, aka Big Finish original companion, who was beloved back in 2001 when Storm Warning came out, through to sometime in 2007. What the fuck was the Girl Who Never Was, I think, was her last story with the Cybermen, funny enough, who we didn't get, but maybe that's next time. But yeah, so that's the thing. Paul and Charlie's art, without getting into that, of course, that ended all those years ago. Charlie Pollard had a couple of spin-off series that wasn't tied into the Doctor stuff, but it pretty much continued her story arc from post Paul McGann and Colin Baker, but in the wrong order.
And you know what we do to alien Big Finish.
Yeah, you forget about them. But then she wasn't forgotten about, so because then her and Paul had a bonus box set a couple years ago, like the Further Adventures, like Lucy Miller and Sheridan Smith did. Like
Lucy Miller and Sheridan Smith. They were two different.
Lucy Sheridan Smith Miller.
They were two different entities in the end.
Yeah. But it's nice to see India Fisher still come back and provide.
Still love it as well. Like
Charlie
she's
Magic. Yeah.
she's so, like this. It's nice that also like because of things like Night of the Doctor, where his official finally, like we see the 8th Doctor regenerate, he mentions all of at that point in 2013, all of his Big Finish companions.
Yeah. Forever immortalized by canon. And his amnesia, because all of the
Charlie, Lucy, Tamsin, Molly, friends, companions, I salute you all.
Sorry, I forgot to name drop the rest. Oh, fuck, they hadn't happened yet. Or had they?
I forgot about Grace.
Yeah, Grace, the American, damn. And she was before all of them.
Or after all of them. Dun dun dun. Yeah, sorry. Carry on.
Or is that a multiverse theory?
I'm going to
that
try and
gonna
find
But yeah,
Turn
India
on her
Fisher,
camera.
Charlie, incredible. I'm glad to see her. I mean, looking good as well. Like, just hadn't lost any of her magic.
Well, she's 50 this year.
Ding dong is all I'm saying. Ding ding ding. But then obviously the man we were all there for, the man that has made me spend a good chunk of my money for the last 3 or 4 years of my bank account. I mean, obviously it's gone to Nick Briggs and the Big Finish crew and all of this wonderful production, and the fact that they got to do it live is the reason. Sole reason is because of me, and then it will be because of this man in the next 5 years. But obviously the reason why I signed up and convince myself that this is going to be a worthy investment is because of Sir Paul McGann, my doctor, the audio doctor. Just
he is the doctor that's benefited obviously the most from Big Finish. Having one story in '96 and then one mini episode in 2013.
Yeah, and then going back again to Storm Warning back in like March or April 2001 when it was released. Obviously, he did it. He really did his vocal cords in 2000, but just an insane journey from Charlie onwards to Lucy. Sorry, it didn't hurt, Paul. Wait, actually, it hurt not meeting you. Susan.
And yes, I apologize. Good times. Look how young he still is. What a
He
young
forever
man
will
for a
be.
60-year-old.
Forever will be.
But he bowled out in his 8th Doctor, Night of the Doctor
yeah.
version of the costume.
Yeah, which was cool. It made it more immersive because he was there fully in deck, in character, ready for it. That was a cool visual, like you say.
That was a bit sort of surreal, wasn't it? When like they were coming out one by one, it's like, oh fuck, it is actually Paul McGann.
Yeah, because it could have been anybody.
Well, no, but like you think like, oh, like you're gonna see it, but then until he walks out, you're like, holy shit, that's the Doctor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but like you say, in the garb. If he wasn't in Doctor, he wouldn't have the same effect.
I think you'd still have sort of a similar effect. But
I still have it's Paul McGann.
He's there. It's like it's Paul McGann on stage in front of an amazing setup, like the TARDIS and the console and a Dalek prop, and you're like, holy fuck! Sometimes it is like this show does wonderful things, and like you get these amazing moments in your life where you're like, this means a lot to me. It could mean fuck all to anyone else, but that's the Doctor in front of a TARDIS, and we're going to hear an adventure that like hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but we get to, that's the thing. We got to saw it live.
We got to saw it.
People listen to Big Finish, but that's to say, a couple thousand people per the 4 showings across the weekend. We're one of the few thousand fortunate to say we've seen Big Finish, but I'm hopeful and optimistic that this can be at least continued into a further venture, whether they call it Stuff of Legend 2 or call it wherever they want to. Chimes of Spare Midnight Parts, we'd all be there again, same venue, different venue. Get more people to go next time. Just I'm very happy for them that they finally got to do something like this, because I'm, like I said to you again on the train home, like this discussion must have been on Barnaby's mind, Nicholas's mind, Paul's mind for at least a while. I say the contribution to the 60th year. Oh, why didn't they do this like a year ago for the 60th? They had their.
Because we did have this long conversation on the circuit line, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Because what else were they supposed to talk about?
Talk about loads of things. Like the journey flew by in like 5 minutes. But
yeah,
so in terms of,
we've got to do it again.
You are obviously more of a Big Finish expert than me, which is not hard. But
yeah.
In terms of, I mean, you can say in terms of other 8th Doctor audio adventures, in terms of like other Big Finish is in general,
where would it rank?
How, but as a story, how was it for you? Like, because I know some things like that. You can get caught up sometimes in the fanfare and the experience, and they're actually there. So it's like, oh, it's really good, but maybe like when you think about it, it's actually quite shit. But it's
convoluted for the sake of being.
But it's like it could
have been over
like
25 minutes.
It's like for example, Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. It could have been done in 20 minutes.
It's a great it's a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
But it's based off of the fact of everything that's come before it and the experience, and the first time you watched it in the cinema, like things like it's sort of things like that. Like the first time you see it can have a genuine and profound effect on your thoughts on it.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
But like for me,
yes,
I really fucking dug it, man. Like if they're all like that, I could get into Big Finish properly and be even more in depth than I already am. But for you,
Yeah, no. I second that part about being more in debt. Damn you, Nicholas Spriggs, but also thank you, because you know, when I do, I can't ever forget or switch off a Big Finish. But when I actually do commit to listen to a 2-hour, sometimes 3-hour story, depending on the release, I do. You know, it is the best of both worlds. Yeah, all right, fine. Visuals a must in our head. People have probably done scenes for Chimes of Midnight, Spare Parts, and all these epic classics that there's a small part of us we'd all like to see some sort of visual cue from it. But that's the thing. The audio art. I mean, people again switching off from Doctor Who slightly, but people that probably subscribe to Audible, listen to all the apps and all the other audio book, because people don't like to read books, or again probably more don't have the room to display all their magnificent books in their magnum opus collection. I get Audible and audio books are a format and an option and a convenience as well. Same thing with digital streaming. I mean, everything is easy digitally, but seeing it, of course, in person had an incredible effect that, again, hopefully isn't just the one and only done. We ain't got to wait 25 more years to see something of this caliber again. But the story itself I can really commend, because, again, for someone that I am in the lore of Big Finish, but I'm not really. And the 8 and Charlie arc, I know the beats, but I haven't been there for every single step of the journey. I haven't done, like I say, I know roughly how it ends, but I've not been through the whole trajectory. And for something as simple as the Stuff of Legend was, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because it was still legendary. It did live up to its name, I thought. But it was good that it wasn't a Big Finish continuity heavy. You need to know things prior to watching or listening to Stuff of Legend. It did have a nice effect actually seeing them just sit by their microphones. And I mean, I don't mean that in a condescending way as well, but because it's them and their voices and some vocal actions and movement that really did sell the performance. Essentially, I described it as I was going to the theatre. I mean, sure, it was in the theatre, but it was a stage play. It wasn't a full theatrical, again, I'm not comparing it to Back to the Future in the musical because it's nothing completely alike. But in terms of lights effects and movement on stage, it wasn't that at all. It was a bunch of people sitting with microphones, kind of like how we are now, except there's 7 more of us. But
I can imagine 7 more of us.
7 more of us on stage, selling out a couple thousand people. Comedy shows coming up there. Insert future show here. But no, the story itself was pretty good. 4-part. It flew by
because it came out that morning, didn't it? And you listened to some of it,
I tested
pre-credit sequence.
Yeah, pretty much the opening narration, which is how it opened for us live, and then I listened just to make sure, because again, not to dabble Big Finish's app solution, but it wasn't working for me, so I'm now having to use my Spotify as my Big Finish app. So I was just checking sure it was all synced up properly, and it wasn't just parts 1 and 2 and yet it was a 4-part story. But I can confirm that it was all fine. But no, story itself was great. It was mega accessible. Again, the return of McQueen just really did. Again, I'm not saying people weren't just there for Paul McGann, because I mean he was reason enough to go alone, and Charlie. But for me, it was McQueen, and so very few releases in between that made me get out of my seat to make me buy these tickets. It was McQueen that did it for me, as well as McGann. But it was just incredible seeing these 9 people do their magic, and again, limited options for sound and effects and stuff. Yeah, all right, some pre-recorded, some of it done live on the air, and of course, I commend them for not making as much slip-ups. I mean, they didn't barely make any slip-ups. I'd like to think.
Before it started, if we've got hopefully we're going to do it in order in one run. We've got.
I mean, they fucking did.
Too many stops and pickups that we got to do, which they didn't have to.
No, the only reason they stopped is because we, as the audience, were commending them. As so very few lines do need to get commended. So it stopped at the right moments, and again, it just made us as an audience feel collective and appreciative of it. But they probably stumbled at the 2:00 showing, and then we probably weren't there for that. And
we don't know. By the sounds of it, they smashed it all 4 times.
4 times, yeah. No, I'm joking, but mega accessible story. The performances were pretty much great all time round.
Yep.
Again, if I was to nitpick anything, like I said to you as I was watching it, it took a while for McQueen to get into it. But again, it was because of the plot.
But I think that's because you know he's there.
He's literally in front of me, like a couple 100 meters from me, and I'm like, Alex, please speak up. Yeah, it would have frustrated me more if I was on his side looking at him going, why the fuck aren't you talking? Please, I'm here for you. Yeah, I'm not trying to keep details vague, but essentially it's definitely worth a listen. Flew real by. There's a lot of like locations and a lot of movement, and it wasn't, you get some releases of anything where they're in one location, it's all like sort of set bound, and yes, the Big Finish magic describes and it gets your senses going, you can imagine everything in your head. But sometimes when you've got multiple places and locations and a lot of things going on, it can get a little but again, seeing it also helped. But this one on the re-listen isn't going to be one where I can't keep up with characters A and B in scene in this location number one, and then you've got these characters over here doing another thing, and you've got people underground doing stuff. Like, it isn't one that it's going to wrap my head in confusion. It's enough. It's a simple enough, straightforward story that it was pretty cool. It was just legendary having this experience with it. I'm not saying it won't live up to the stuff of Legend on readback or through audio, but
I wonder, especially for you, because you own it physically and digitally, like, will you listen to it like, say in like a week or so, like on its own, sure. And then just be like, like maybe I didn't, pick up on this kind of thing because it was a lot of clapping and cheering and like laughing.
Maybe.
Or will you sort of be like, oh, that wasn't as strong as I thought it was? It could be, but it could go the other way, and you could be like, no, I appreciate the story even more because it's quite a good story that's been told.
Yeah, no, but a lot of them, as you kept asking me, a lot of them are like that. The way the dialogue are, the banter between, like, not just Doctor Companion, but Master and supporting cast. The supporting cast themselves, especially the character of Foley, Barnaby Edwards, was particularly humorous, and again, he got a lot of appreciation from the audience. Again, whether those moments will have the same effect in audio, like in my head, maybe I'll just have to pause the track and go to keep the suspense, to relive that experience. But just like I say, a couple new people, but like. Gabriel Clark. I mean, I haven't really shown you them, but Gabriel Clark, Jason Forbes, Nisha Nayar from, as you pointed out, Satellite 5, The Long Game, or Parting of the Ways. She was pretty good as Emily, as well, like the new companion for this story. Carolyn didn't do as much in the first half, but she obviously came to life quite literally in the second part. And
she had like some vocal bits here and there, and was mainly like the narrator.
Reliable. I wouldn't say unreliable narrator. It's not Deadpool, but it was, she was pretty reliable. Give her due. But I also like the banter between, again, Captain Césaire and Barnaby Edwards' characters as well. They were pretty entertaining. And then again, Gabriel Clark had a lot more of the vocal effects, and he was like, again, their sound technician and
Foley artist.
Yeah, Foley artist. I just call him sound technician effects, because he had what I called a DJ at the back behind where we were sitting. We had I called it the DJ because he had
the sound mixer, and it was all the pre-recorded effects and stuff and music cues. Yeah,
but then Gabriel was there with drums and triangles and making
lanterns and things, and
making sounds. Yeah, it was impressive. It was a good act. And I say, hopefully these people will come back and do some more, whether it's Paul-centric stuff, or you can get them doing Colin stuff, and you can do Jason Forbes as an alien. But again, whether I'd know it in person, we unfortunately won't, unless, stuff of Legend 2, make it happen. Please, guys. But it was a really, really cool day out, evening out. Again, weather was on our side, which obviously made it more optimistic getting there as well. And it weren't like, not say doom and gloom.
No, it was, it was a nice.
It wasn't doomsday.
Like the fact that we come at the station, it was like, oh, where is it? It's literally like there, like a 2-minute walk.
Yeah, like mega quick walk.
It was all a good atmosphere.
It was like a magical evening.
If you had to, because obviously it's like we don't know how many people have actually listened to it, because it's a story that everyone else can listen to, not just like a live thing.
Yes.
If you had to pick sort of like a favorite moment from this,
off the top of my head, literally any scene between Foley, one of Barnaby Edwards' characters, and not to spoil a thing, but when Alex McQueen and Foley interact, and a few interactions between those two characters in particular. Again, trying to keep it vague. They again got a good reaction from the audience, short and brief, but he was, genuinely smiling and made us all laugh. But I like, again, their scenes where he was playing the other character and then Captain Cesare. I like a lot of their banter as well, particularly when they're not with the Doctor and they're not with the companions trying to keep up. And, they're not like Bradley and Brian trying to tag with Yaz and Jodie, for example. They just felt like their own dynamic pair. Kind of mod. Again, I'm not comparing it to the legacy of Jago and Lightfoot at all, but like it had those kind of vibes for me as a Big Finish listener. Again, I'm not saying, again, on screen, we're not ever going to see them two, unfortunately. Again, unless Barnaby is a half-human Dalek. I don't know. Maybe he could be Dalek Sec if they ever really want to do Dalek Sec ever again. But no, Jason Forbes, Barnaby Edwards, hats off to them as well. Alex McQueen, again, hats off to you. And every time Paul McGann with his little iPad, everyone had, like, scripts in front of them, but Paul McGann had an iPad.
A couple of them had iPads. I think Caroline had an iPad.
Did she? Okay, fine. I'm singling out Paul McGann and his iPad. But no, every time Paul McGann had his iPad, and as soon as he stood up and kind of twitched, and you can see that he was about to then speak, again, that man's vocal cords have got me through so many fucking evenings. But seeing him do his magic and his craft without the props of the sonic screwdriver was just incredible. Like, it really did sell everything that I had been hearing for the last 5 years. But just seeing them do their magic, as impressive or as unimpressive as some observers may look at and go, oh, is that it for a stage play? It's fucking incredible stuff.
But for those who love and appreciate the character, it was amazing to...
It's the closest thing we'll ever get to seeing them. Like, again, we'd love to see them on screen. At one point, Doctor Who, Russell, make Big Finish more of a thing than it is, because he deserves it. There is an art and craft that 25 years on still continues to kind of amaze and bedazzle, in all honesty. Rangers galore. You've got plenty of choice on the website. If any of you haven't been on the Big Finish website, don't get intimidated. There is a lot on there. You can get lost in the maze. But if you have a point, if you have an anchor of where you want to begin, like with George, you're going to go Paul McGann and Charlie, by all means. I say, those early stories are on Spotify. So do him a favor. Do, like George, listen to them on Spotify. You won't be disappointed by those early ones. Yeah. Listen to them on Spotify first and then continue from there. Yep. Or just do Paul McGann. Just do him a favor.
McGann.
Go in the Time War. Be Paul McGann in the Time War. Well, don't literally be in the Time War, but...
So one of my favourite jokes, this is obviously a nice joke for the audience mainly, in terms of when Charlie Penrose and what's his name?
Captain Cesare?
Captain Cesare.
Yeah.
They have to break into a Dalek and get in
one.
Oh
yes, of course, yes.
And Barnaby Edwards, obviously in character, but because of everyone that's there knows who he is and that he used to be in Dalek. Like, you never get me in one of those, and it was everyone just went, "Way!" There was various edits where people would laugh and thing, and sometimes it would then get warrant a clap.
Yeah,
and then there was things like that. It was just then that would be the laughing and that, but then it was also to show appreciation for the script was good. It was written by a Big Finish favourite.
No, it wasn't Nicholas Brigg. I thought it was all done by Barnaby. It was written directed by Barnaby.
No, it was Robert Levine, wasn't it?
Robert Valentine.
Valentine.
I'm wrong. We didn't see him in person, but he's all right.
Levine. What the fuck?
Robert Levine.
Robert Valentine wrote it. Who's
Robert Valentine,
you were saying to me, is a favourite.
He's a more recent, but his stories. When I again listen to other channels, Pertwee Smith 11, Host Productions, just to shout out other YouTubers in the Big Finish section that may or may not have been there. Robert Valentine, I did this before I was here. I had all the writers in my head and they're gone. But Robert Valentine, he comes to mind. He's more of a recent one that's got notorious amongst recent releases. But yes, fine. Written by Robert Valentine, who may or may not have been there. But everything else, as far as I'm aware, was Barnaby Edwards. Written, directed. Well, not written. I'll shut up. Barnaby was the man. He was there introducing it, and it was his thing as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
You okay?
I am now.
But I like that joke. That was very nicely done. I like because we only had it was an interval, so we only had one cliffhanger, which was from episode 2 into episode 3.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like you say, it was in 4 parts on the audio release version.
It felt like 4 parts.
And you were trying to play the fun game of like trying to guess where
the cliffhanger was going to be.
was for episodes 1 and episode 3.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You'll have to, when you listen back to it, you'll have to tell me where they are.
I mean, or unless I've just read the details wrong, it could just been 2 45-minute episodes, but then it felt longer than 45 minutes if it was.
It was about 55 minutes each.
Under an hour for sure, but yeah.
Obviously, maybe a bit longer with some clapping breaks.
Yeah, because of us, we delayed it. Yeah, yeah, but that's the thing. So I'll get the runtime of the actual studio release, and then when they get the live version on the website, we'll then compare runtimes because it might be because of us that we've extended.
Yeah, we made it longer. We made it too long, but the big cliffhanger was the reveal of the Master.
Yes,
and that was good. Because they also did the classic Who thing. They did that bit again, like at the start of the second part. It was like, "I am the Master," and then that's when you get the payoff of
Professor. Yeah.
Holy, shut up. But no, very good. Very like I would hope that they would do more.
Yeah.
Whether it be
praying.
I think it'd be would be new releases in terms of it's probably harder for them to go back and live up to doing listening to Chimes of Midnight for the first time again. I'm guessing,
for sure. Yeah.
So I think with that, because it was a new story, everyone was sort of along for the ride. Whereas it would be like, I'm waiting for this bit. I know what happens there.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But no, I would highly recommend it if you haven't been lucky enough to see it like we did.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time, and if we're there, come say hello. But our little debate thing, and we can put this to the audience because I know Mike will possibly have some opinions on this. Whether regardless of story, because we're kind of taking that out of the equation, what would we want if they did this next? Would it be like another Eighth Doctor? Would it be, because we also felt like one of our discussions was like maybe this didn't happen over the last couple of years, or because they've obviously wanted to do it for a long time.
I imagine so.
But because over the last few years, from Capaldi and Jodie's era, there wasn't enough love from the more general Doctor audience.
Yeah.
Because all other merchandise apart from DVDs and stuff wasn't getting made, or was getting made in vastly limited quantities as opposed to where it used to be, the early Tennant and to Smith years, sort of thing. So it's
again, 2011 was the peak of not just the show, not just the writing, not just again the momentum of the show, but the whole brand. The brand,
yeah,
it blew up in America, and then the gap between 11 and series 6 and 7, I think was at least
when it starts getting a bit and the momentum is a big thing of it.
But then when
every time there's Jodie would have that's a good series. Oh, we're gonna wait another 2 years for the next one, and then you're kind of but thankfully that's something that's not going to be happening. Fingers crossed with
going forward,
because season 2 is already in the can.
We can undo Empire of Death,
and there'll be a spin-off as well. So where there's more money going into it with Disney and things like that, regardless of how you think Russell's handling it, he's bringing more eyes and more money back to it. So this is I wouldn't be surprised if there was not just Big Finish fans, but there was a few more fans that were intrigued, and it's opened up a new world for them.
They see the wonderful new logo and they kind of go, "Oh, cool! What's this?
Yeah, oh my god, shoot, he's going to be in it.
Daleks are in it.
Yeah,
sign me up."
But we did say whether it would depend on what they were aiming for. If the Doctor Who brand itself are oh, well, that done really well. It sold out all 4 showings. Do we make it a more sort of for the general audience? Because then undoubtedly it would be probably David that they would do.
Yeah. But the thing is, David before Doctor Who was a Big Finish collaborator on a handful of releases.
Yeah, 2003 was on a couple of them, wasn't
he? Yeah, 2001's Cold It's a good 7th Doctor 1 free on Spotify, where he plays an evil German Nazi. So.
Oh dear Lord, David, what have you done?
A little bit.
Yeah. So. I don't think it would be necessarily either a companion or someone else playing the Doctor. How sometimes Fraser Hines recounts a story for them. I mean, it could be. I think. I mean,
I'd like. That's the thing. Now that again, we're speaking as people that have done the live, experience. I would love to see Patrick Troughton's son David or Michael, whichever one it is. I apologize.
Yeah.
Play his father, because
Yeah.
the Second Doctor era resonates a lot with me, especially as we've been doing this and with the animations. Like, I would love to
You want the wheel of
be
space.
in. I want Big Finish to do it, because clearly no one else is going to animate it. No, I would love to be in some sort of partake in the vocal rendition of a Second Doctor style to this. Make it new, based on a new thing, not Enemy of the World live. But like, I would love to be part of a Second Doctor showing. But again, it won't be the same having the Doctor who isn't by any means here, and there's no blame there. That's just a thing called age.
I think, like, as much as we can want all those obscure things, what we do sometimes take for granted is this is a thing to make money, because no matter like how much money it's made from that, like, you know, how much did it cost to get those props down in the background, like obviously paying the actors, putting them there, you know, renting out the venue. Hopefully it's done more than well enough to warrant at least another crack at it. Not then make it to a point where it's like it's 5 nights at the Palladium and it's, you know, it's that kind of
Monday
thing.
to Friday.
But I think they'd be more inclined for it to be a Doctor actor that is still alive and would be able to do at least 2 showings a day if they did it, say, again, I'm assuming over a weekend. Maybe they'd stretch it to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So I think, for practicality reasons, it rules out Jacob Dudman, because everyone would be like,
he's not a Doctor. No.
Well, no, like from what I know in the reviews I had, like, you know, I was there when he first started blowing up on YouTube as the Matt Smith impressionist guy, and like I think I briefly had him on Snapchat at one point, like fucking years ago. But
Jesus.
Yeah, like everyone would, the more general audience would be like, but where's David? Where's Matt? Where's Peter? Sort of thing. I mean, it would be a big ask for it to be one of the Doctors that hasn't done Big Finish yet. I mean, you leave it a year, you could arguably have a couple and then like do a Jodie. I would be interested to see a Jodie.
It's crazy. One. Again, we could joke about it, but it's crazy how we haven't had Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi sign up Big Finish, and yet Jodie Whittaker, again, who only got announced a couple months ago, in a shorter space of time of her being off screen and not the current Doctor.
Well, she stopped shooting Doctor Who over 2 years ago and hasn't been the Doctor on screen for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, but then like Matt and Capaldi have doubled that, and you think, why have they not lent themselves to it? And again, I get it. They're busy people. They've got other things going their way, and you know.
Well, yeah, because there's the Big Finish thing of like you can't use anything that's currently happening on the show. Yeah. So there's a sort of cool off periods, because now we've had like the Joe Martin stuff being announced. I mean, I'd kill for a fucking, you know, a 13 Yaz, Fugitive, and Sacha Dhawan Master thing.
Yeah.
Similarly.
Yeah.
Maybe you finally find out where Dhawan comes. Like, does he regenerate from Missy? Is it a McQueen to Sacha Dhawan to Derek Jacobi thing? Because everyone still debates whether that's the thing. So like, I would kill to see that, especially because it's like, oh, they're the ones that, you know, didn't get a lot of love, and it would be some more reciprocation of, no, we love these versions of the characters, just don't let Chris Chibnall write the story.
Yeah, straight up.
And don't have Ryan and all the other companions say like really stupid dialogue. John Bishop, like if they did a 13 one, I would hope that John at Bishop some point you would get a John Bishop.
Rephrasal.
Yeah. Because I love Dan. Dan's a fucking underrated companion.
He was really good.
We did say that maybe like a good thing to sort of best of both worlds in terms of satiate the general television only audience and the Big Finish audience that have got a new love for a Doctor we didn't get much of. Maybe you try and get Chris.
I think that's the thing. I think the universe would
implode. You're praying for it.
Well, yeah, it would be the best of both worlds, because that's what you keep saying. Best between general TV, modern revival. His Big Finish work, again, whilst only being recent, has been, you know, flawless and impeccable. I don't think there's been a bad release from what, again, reviews and in his name. But, you know, Chris, Nick, if you haven't thought about contacting Chris, you know, listen to us, you know, please, you know, Christopher Eccleston, I think, you know, my heart would melt seeing him do it post 2005. Would, you know, Christopher Eccleston would be the next best thing in terms of Doctor. The story could be, and whoever else you want to get would be, I'll be down for whatever. I'll be DTF. But having Christopher Eccleston, that makes that event next level. If you're talking about elevating the next show, Big Finish, guys, if you're somehow considering and you haven't crossed a few hurdles yet, and you clearly value our opinion, then please,
Would
Chris
you
Eccleston
have,
would
like,
be insane.
Would you have Billy Piper in it if you got a Chris one, or would you?
Well,
Like, if it was a Chris story, like, would you want Billy Piper to be in it? Would you want a Big
oh,
Finish companion?
oh, considering that Billy Piper, she came back for a 2017-16 David Tennant pairing, so she's not new to the world of Big Finish, but I think she's only been on that one release of 3 stories, or one box set rather of 3 stories. So yeah, but then because the Ninth Doctor's proven to be more than just Rose and more than a TV run, I don't think it matters now. If it was more of a recency, if this was 20 years ago and the audio adventures were done in like the Wilderness years, and this happened around 2007-8 time, then there'd be more of a clamoring for Billy Piper. And I don't mean to diss that on her going now, but I don't think you need Rose now.
You don't
much.
need it, but I think there is a sort of a general thing of it would be nice.
It would be wholesome seeing them two together again.
Yeah,
it would be great.
Because I think, and as much as people will probably disagree with me, like Rose is a companion, very fucking selfish, but she is a teenager at the beginning, so it's understandable. But
yeah,
she wasn't the best character.
Yes,
Billy just became the face of the show because she was then the main person, and that had to then do it all again with David after this lightning in a bottle series 1. And it would be nice to,
get more of the human
companions that cross over with different Doctors very rarely suit both of them. Like,
fine
for me, like
Jenna Coleman, Matt Smith, and Capaldi.
Yeah, Clara is a character I've never got on with. Really, I like her better with Capaldi than I do with Smith, because it's just less of a thing of sexual innuendos and fucking HR sexual harassment case waiting to happen. But yeah, like even her, have her paired up with Capaldi or whatever. But like to see Rose with a less, a pairing that we didn't get to see much of, but was so perfect in terms of the relationship between the two of them, would be nice. But like you say, a completely different companion. I'm not fussed about that.
Yeah,
I think age-wise probably rules Tom Baker out, because having him do a whole weekend of that is a lot to ask of a man in his 90s.
Yeah, as much as like out like otherworldly of an experience that would be for all involved, even the Big Finish lot, if they genuinely got Tom Baker in the room, as otherworldly as that would be, I think in terms of like wholesomeness and warm-heartedness and just love from the franchise, again, whether you're just a modern viewer or you're a Big Finish listener and you've come to appreciate the Ninth Doctor from these audios, I think it'd just be a wholesome moment for Doctor Who in general if Christopher Eccleston was to do a live Big Finish performance. At the minute, that's current thoughts. I'm not saying 6 months' time that's going to go away and it'd be all David, but because David is a man of many talents,
David is the People's Doctor. There's a reason that
to everything.
Russell.
Yeah.
I was brought in to bring back the audience and bring the figures up. T. Davis. There's a reason. David and Catherine. General audience come flocking back in for that, and have stuck around thankfully for some, if not all, of season 1. So I wouldn't say no to David. I definitely wouldn't say no to Chris. Would be a love. I don't know if it would happen because, like you said, he's sort of done his original contract, and there's nothing immediate in the works for Chris.
I mean, that I know of. I could be completely wrong, but that's just
Paul is obviously the Big Finish Doctor, so there will always be Paul McGann stories
until he rage quits one day.
5, 6, and 7. I'd have any of those doing, particularly Colin, because I am a fucking Colin Baker
enthusiast.
Yeah.
Again, his arc got completed because of Big Finish, so there's always going to be love and appreciation for Colin because his character got justice.
Yeah. Well, all the Doctors in there got justice because they weren't all blessed with amazing scripts and stories on TV all the time. So,
and new companions to breadth their life. And
Miss Melanie Bush. Yeah, get the Doctor, get Mel, get all that jazz. I'd love to see 13 as well. I mean, if we could get Matt and Peter to even just do it.
Audio. Yeah,
whether you're doing it live as well, but that's a lot to ask to be like, can you do this? Also, can you do a live show? But never say never.
Yeah, well, weirder things have happened for sure. Stranger things have happened.
Practicality would be a Paul or a 5, 6, and 7. A love would be Eccleston And
know
Tennant,
what?
I wouldn't mind.
Not to diss any of the conversation we've had and to think which Doctor could be next and to one up one Doctor. Why can't we have a multi-Doctor Big Finish story? Or is that too much for a second show?
I mean, certainly in 5 years' time, when it's the
Yeah,
30th anniversary of Big Finish,
a live multi-Doctor story.
that would get the people involved. What
Just
say
that-
you, Big Finishites? Have you never listened to Big Finish? Are you going to listen to Big Finish? Did you see Stuff of Legend, having not listened to it like
Yes.
me, or being
No.
a sort of novice or more of an expert like Connor?
Self-proclaimed, I'm not an expert.
What did you like about it? Did you not like anything about it? Was it, weird? Have you re-listened? Anyone that's listened to the original release and seen it live? Not done either. What Doctor Who audio, if you're just a Big Finish person that didn't see it live, would you like to see, or specific Doctor companion, various combination? But yeah, really good time. I do hope that there is enough money for them to do this again,
To warrant it again.
because
Mm.
like with all things, you need new fans and new generations of people to discover it and get into it, because then they'll drive it next time. The ones that have grown up listening to it over the last 25 years will be the ones that will be doing Big Finish for the next 25 years, sort of thing. You know
Whether
what I
they
mean?
like it or not.
Yeah. So and
Yeah.
always it's amazing. And next time, Paul, we will meet you, and
We will find you.
we will find you, and
And we won't kill you. We will hug you.
We will hug you and
We'll
say,
hug you.
please come on the podcast. We didn't get the chance. We need Connor to give the small Colin Baker to Paul McGann, like the photo that Mike did create, because that was a scenario that happened. Other than that, there wasn't much. So that was it's a nice sort of quick
Nothing
one,
happened.
really. Even though we rabbled for an hour about Big Finish, but
Because we love stories. This
We
is exactly
love
what
stories.
this has been.
Yeah.
We love a story.
so Connor, where can the good people find us?
I mean, nerdbiblecontact@gmail.com. Maybe you can send an inquiry to Big Finish at inquiries@bigfinish.com. Maybe you can send our CV attached in the description below to get us involved in a production in the future. Big Finish ones will be in the descriptions, maybe, possibly. But Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If Cadogan Hall have a social media, maybe give them a tag and be like, "Yeah, I really enjoyed the Saturday, Sunday showing of Stuff of Legend. Please get them to nudge Big Finish to do more, perhaps." Again, you guys do it better than us. You do it better than me, that's for sure. And yeah, maybe at BBC Studios, at BBC Worldwide, at Big Finish, at Nicholas Briggs, Paul McGann, at Christopher Eccleston. No, just at all the Doctor Who people you'd like to at, and tell them that Stuff of Legend was incredible. Lie to them and say you were there, and just get them to
No, or
Be
just
there.
like hound them, because like
yeah spam their PO box.
with stuff like if you want more audio more animated reconstructions of stories, you need to support those kind of things, support the industry that you want to see more of.
And
So
this is
buy
definitely
more
an
Big
industry
Finish
worth
stuff,
supporting.
buy
Yeah.
Stuff of Legend, like if you
Oh,
can,
100%.
if you can afford it, and if you're lucky enough to get tickets the next time it comes up, do go, because that kind of thing and that support and drive will be like, oh, maybe we'll put an extra date on like they had to, or maybe we'll do another one in 6 months' time.
Yeah.
But we can only hope.
Yeah.
But until then,
6 months, damn.
I've been George, he's been Connor,
Yeah,
and
still here.
we will see you next week for some non-Big Finish. But
Non-legendary
do
content.
check out the TikTok as well, because that was a thing where I taught Connor a TikTok trend.
Yeah, because again, they're trendy for about a day, and then you find out 3 days later that there's a new thing that I weren't aware of. But yeah, we won't say what it is. Links in the description. You could be there or be squared, and possibly get us viral. Fingers crossed. But until then, this has been the Stuff of Legend. I mean, not whether you can read that or not, but the Stuff of Legend. And I'm praying for Stuff of Legend 2.
See you next week,
Big
everyone.
with a
Bye-bye.
love story.
It's a love
Big
story.
Finish, baby. Just say yes to more, please.